Instruction for the single and the married. Reflection on 1 Corinthians 7. In 1 Corinthians 7, Paul continues to answer the Corinthians' questions about marriage and being single. His words may sound challenging, but they carry wisdom for both the married and those who are single. Paul's surprising statement on being single. Paul begins by saying, "It is good to be single." To be honest, that sounds easier said than done. I don't know many people who truly enjoy being single. Maybe just a few. But Paul's point is not to make marriage look bad, but to highlight that being single frees a person to focus on God without the distractions and struggles that often come with marriage. Marriage as a guard against sexual immorality. The main reason Paul says marriage is necessary is to prevent sexual immorality. And what is sexual immorality? It is intimacy between a man and a woman outside of marriage. Paul is practical. If you know you cannot control your passions, it is better to marry than to fall into sin. Mutual authority in marriage. For those already married, Paul teaches that neither spouse has complete authority over their own body. A husband cannot deny his wife intimacy, and a wife cannot deny her husband, because marriage is a covenant of giving, not withholding. Each belongs to the other in love. Marriage with an unbeliever. What if you are married to someone who does not believe? Paul says do not leave them. The marriage is still valid. Your presence as a believer sanctifies the home. The only condition is if the unbelieving spouse chooses to leave. Then the believer is not bound. But as long as the unbeliever stays, you remain in the marriage. The question of divorce and remarriage. Paul adds something difficult. If a believing wife leaves her husband, or if a believing husband leaves his wife, they must remain single or reconcile. This is not just Paul's opinion. He says it is the Lord's command. For believers, marriage is not something to abandon easily. If you must leave, then remain single. That sounds so hard, but it shows how highly God values the marriage covenant. Why Paul encourages being single? Paul circles back to the point. It is better to be single. Why? Because marriage today often ends painfully, sometimes in just a few years, sometimes after decades. Divorce is common, and it leaves scars. Being single helps avoid these struggles and keeps a believer free to serve God wholeheartedly. Sin against the body. Among all sins, Paul highlights sexual sin as unique. It is a sin against the body, the temple of God. Other sins are outside the body, but sexual immorality defile the very vessel that carries your spirit. 1 Corinthians 6 verse 18. This can even open the door to spiritual attack.
To watch the full video, press the small play button on the right below or link in description. Thank you, and please do not forget to like and subscribe.